Welcome back to the race shop. Hey guys, thanks for joining us this evening. I really appreciate it. We are now down in Southern California, having made our way from Las Vegas. We're down in Pomona at the World Finals at the now In-N-Out Burger drag strip. This is quite a historic place, and we've got something amazingly cool to share with you this evening with our guest that we have. I'm Greg, I'm your host. I am the guy with the face for radio and with the voice for silent movies. And that's what you're stuck with if you're going to watch me here. Sorry for your luck, but I do the best I can with what the Lord gave me. So we're here with my A fuel card. That's it pictured right there. But tonight's guest, I am stunned and overwhelmed and honored to be able to share with you, is Larry Dixon Jr. Oh my God, we are so honored to have you here, Larry. Thank you so much for joining me here. It's awesome.
No, happy to be here. Thanks
it's
for
really
the invite.
cool. Absolutely, it's my honor. So I shared with Larry a little bit earlier. This has not come together the normal way. We just talked a little earlier today about the pit pass idea that you all know about if you follow me here. And so I said, whatever your favorite booze is, bring that. And whatever it is, if it's Dr. Pepper or booze, I don't care, whatever it is. And so he shows up and I go, well, Crumb must have changed his mind or something. But no, he's prepared. So what did you bring this evening, young man? So he is a beer guy.
I'm in Southern California, you can find the Mexican beer. So
yes,
yeah.
Good stuff. Tecate beer. Yeah. Good for you. God bless you. Yeah. Well, pop that open, and I want to share a little bit of that with you, so you can pour us up here.
All right.
We're gonna get started. So while he's doing that, and then I've got mine, and we'll get to a little later. So, but while he's doing that, I'm going to show you all a couple things here. We're going to start with a brief history, but you know, Crumb, if you guys have been following the sport, if you don't know Larry Dixon, his history, you're just not paying attention, for God's sake. But nonetheless, we'll go back a little bit here. We're going to start back in, I think it was 1970, I believe it was, and with his father winning the Winter Nationals here, would have been earlier in the year though. That's a long time ago, young man.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Thank you, and God bless you, and cheers, Larry.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is wrong with that?
Do you know why they slam glasses like that and say cheers?
No.
Okay, so in the old days, when you'd have two sides meet, and they were worried about whether they poison like the drinks or anything like that, and the whole idea was to slam the glasses together to have have it slosh between the two, and we're good. Yeah, it's like breaking bread, man. So
I did not know that.
And so and any time that you crack glasses like that and you say cheers, it's almost disrespectful to not take a drink.
That part I knew. So I hold up my end on that.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's wonderful. Thank you, Larry. That's so cool. So I was sharing with him just a little bit earlier that, to get the right picture up here, that I think the extremely popular picture was this one that most have seen. And the cool part was it's you and your pop with the Wally winning the Winter Nationals. Your father drove top fuel here.
Yeah.
That is so unbelievably cool. What a history.
My whole childhood was spent, I didn't play sports as a kid or anything like that. It was like literally a weekend off and you went to the races, and it consisted of, not, Pomona was only once a year, but it was Lions drag strip, it was Irwindale, it was Orange County. Like you're always going, and it's like, these guys that drove these front engine dragsters, and they got in them, and they got the silver suits and all.
Yes,
I mean,
they
were like
cool.
they were like gladiators
yes,
to me. And it's like ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to grow up and be like them. So that's really where I got the love of the sport, from going to the races with my parents.
It makes sense to me. I didn't have the privilege of having a father that drove top fuel, but he did have a front engine car in the day, and it was this era too. I'm just a couple years older than you are, but not too many. So it was this era. I remember the front engine cars. I remember the pageantry of starting them when they would push start them.
Push starting.
Yes. And you'd have some that were full body and some that weren't, but there was just a pageantry to it where I grew up in Oregon, for God's sake, and so the drag strip we had doesn't even exist anymore. It's called Balboa in Eugene, Oregon. But at that track, when they'd bring top fuel cars in, they would push the cars down the track, crisscross, turn them around, and push them back, and they'd light on the way back.
Yeah.
Okay? So now they're coming back and cackling fire out of the headers and captivating. They get back, now they got to crisscross again and put them back in the lane they belong in and push them forward and run. But it took a little while to do all that, you know.
Yeah, a lot of foreplay.
A lot of foreplay.
Yeah.
But it was cool. And somehow that set the hook in me as well. Like, oh my God, I want to do this.
And I think there's something to almost be said about it. The amount of time it took to push start them and do all that. Then you've got the announcer talking about the race.
Yes.
And so there's almost like that buildup that you don't necessarily get anymore. It's like, you know, hurry up, fire up the next pair and go. And so it's some of that's lost. I understand, but you know, I think that's why, you know, there was maybe more of a fascination back then, you know, for the, you know, the guys that would pair up, you know, a snake against a mongoose, or the, you know, you'd have Shirley against Big Daddy.
That's right.
You know,
That's
and it
right.
was just,
that's right.
You know, and for me, it was, you know, like those were my sports heroes. And
yes.
You know, like I'm at the arena watching them race, and it was, I feel so blessed to have been able to grow up at the racetrack.
I get it. Makes perfect sense. I've shared this story a few times, but not with you. So I can remember as a young kid, I don't know how old I was, but crap, 10, I don't know, a little kid, but being at that drag strip, and there was a fuel funny car there, and I don't know how it happened, but I can distinctly remember him allowing me to help him mix the fuel. Now, I probably didn't do a damn thing, you know, but I thought I did. I was there helping him pour, and that made such an incredible impression on me that, oh, this is the nitromethane.
The fact that you're talking about it right now, it made an impact, right?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, for God's sake. And it made such an impression. I see it in my mind's eye as though it was yesterday, Larry. It's just incredible. And yeah, it was highly motivating.
Yeah.
I mean,
it made an impact. Look at your pit area.
Exactly. Oh my God. So I get it. I'm nowhere near at this level, but I get it. So I just think that's cool, unbelievably cool. So we go from that, and then I like this. I like the attitude. I like the
trying to get the peace sign.
Yes.
You know, the V for victory.
That's right. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then we're still back in that era. If I can get this to come up here, and this is really cool. When I first saw this, the thing that I shared with him that caught my attention was, God, is that you? His father looks so much like him. Like, oh my God. And then he pointed out, yeah, they're busy talking. He's already working on the car, checking it out. I mean,
got a tool tray on top of the injector, and I'm in there.
That's right.
And I'm not offending anybody. You know, like apparently I know what I'm doing. You know, it was just neat. But back then, what I thought was neat, and the wheelbase of the cars were much shorter. That was in our 2-car garage.
Oh, man.
And you know, a suburban house in North Hollywood, California at the time. And
That's
so
crazy.
like you literally walk out of your house and you had a Top Fuel dragster in it. So your opportunity to like touch and feel is a little bit different than what I have to go through with my kids, because we don't have a Top Fuel car in our garage at our house. It's at a race shop because it don't fit in there.
Right. I remember seeing a video of Shirley Muldowney back from, and this is maybe early 80s, there's somewhere in there, but it was the era where she'd won a championship, and her car was in her garage.
Yeah.
And she had, I'm going to be a little off, but like a Kodiak or something, toter
home
with a chaparral type trailer
Yeah.
that was parked in the RV pad next to the house.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I go, oh my God, I've got way more stuff now for a doggone A-fuel car than they had in that era to run a top fuel car. Yeah. Amazing. Just different world, different era. And some of that, yeah, there's cool stuff that we've done that they couldn't have done then. The performance, yeah. But there's a part of that, like you said, that is gone. It's not coming back. And it's unfortunate. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, as time passes, there are good things and bad things. Which you know, like, you know, I've got a Chevy 2 that, you know, like, out of high school that I used to street race, and it was but through the course of time, you know, I still have the car. I've got a GM LT4 engine in it.
That's awesome.
It runs 2 seconds quicker than it did back when I was street racing, and it gets 22 miles to the gallon on gas. So, like, you know, there are cool things with the old cars,
yes,
but there's some damn cool things with modern technology. So, like, I mean, you kind of have to balance it.
You're absolutely right.
Like, whatever floats your boat.
You're
You know, like
absolutely right.
on that front. So like, there's great things with modern technology, but again, I mean, you can look back and some of the vintage and cars and stuff like that. I'd still eat it up.
I get it. We were over at the museum earlier. I don't know what they're doing with this car, but the mic still works. We were over at the museum earlier today, and when you walk in, you see the Safety Safari old trailer and a 50-something that was a 4-seater car that they pulled this trailer around the country to promote sport drag racing. And we're thinking of all the nostalgia cool part, but they had 4 guys in this car driving across the country, and I'm thinking, I'm in my toter home, which is exponentially bigger than that little car, with one guy, and I'm ready to kill him by the time we're an hour away from home. You know, how would you guys make that work, for God's sake? So,
it's obviously it's the passion that drives everybody. Right?
Yes,
it's you know, and
you put up with what you have to.
Yeah, but the passion, it'll let you do things that you wouldn't normally do, but because you love the cars, you love the sport.
It's absolutely true. And it allows you to pay the price of what it takes, which is financial, but it's way more than financial. It's really flipping hard to do all this stuff. It's really hard. So yeah, I think that's extremely well said. So we have the history, and then we'll roll forward a little bit in time. And this we talked about. I don't know why that comes up. This, I just thought, God darn, that's such a pretty picture, such a beautiful car, and you were in the
English Town too, which we don't have that track anymore, which is kind of I mean, for me, it was like a Fenway Park, you know, for venues to race at. You know, when I'm a kid and you're going to the grocery store with your mom, and it's like you just go right over to the magazine section and you're killing time while they're doing the grocery shopping, and you're reading about these tracks like Gainesville and Englishtown and Columbus, you know, like the big major tracks on the tour, and like all your heroes are racing at them and stuff, and to be able to go there and, you know, run at the same tracks that my dad and Big Daddy and Cha-Cha, you know, raced at, it's like, I dug it. And that car was a ball to drive. I mean, Dick LaHaye was tuning it, and that era with the, you know, engine location and the tire that we ran, yeah, I mean, it carry, I mean, you literally, when you roll up to the starting line to roll up to stage the car, you're aiming it because you know for the first 150 feet you're not steering it, so you're aiming it. So you want that car to like set the front end down and be right where you want it. So I mean, it was cool.
That is cool.
And
that's so cool.
It just, you know, you adapt with the changes. Now that we've got a different tire package that we run on the cars nowadays, so the engine's further out. So then the front end, they don't carry the front end anymore. Again, it was like that era, and it was a ball, and I had fun driving in that time, and we did, and part of why we had fun is because we won a lot of rounds and won a lot of races.
You did extremely
so like
well.
That car's got a number 1 on it, so I'm gonna say that's 2003 with that package, and it was a ball.
That's awesome. That is so cool. And again, if these pictures don't do something for you, then you're watching the wrong darn channel, because that is unbelievably cool. Very cool. So what else we got here? So this is, now we sped up a little bit in time.
Yeah, last month.
Yeah,
a little bit, 20 years later.
But now there's that modern car, and different tire, and motors in different place.
Yeah. Different driver.
Different driver. That's a pro and a con too, but here we are.
But the connection is like I'm connected to the picture. Like, so when my dad was racing, I wasn't driving, and I'm loving the sport. You know, like you show pictures me driving, I'm loving the sport. I'm not driving, I'm still loving the sport. Like I dig it. Like whatever capacity I'm in, as long as I'm involved in the racing, you know, in the Nitro, I dig it. Like that. So it's where I feel comfortable.
It makes sense to me because I was the guy who, when I bought my business 100 years ago now in the early 90s, and I thought I was going to be really wealthy really quick, and I was wrong. But I thought, here we go, I can buy my top alcohol car that I was going to buy. And it took a lot longer than I expected, so I went and helped somebody else with theirs just to be there. So I said, I don't care what, I'll clean parts, I'll clean the trailer, I don't care. You just wanted to be there so bad. That addiction is so intoxicating that that passion that allows you to pay that price and be there. very similar. It's so cool.
You know, along those lines, I mean, it's a team of people. Like, one guy ain't doing it. The crew chief's not doing it. The owner's not doing it. The driver's not doing it. It's a group. It's a group. It's a team. When a team wins the World Series, you know, and the guy pitches a no-hitter or something like that, and he's getting all the glory. But you know, you got a catcher and you got 8 other people on the field that he ain't gonna do anything without their help. So it's all, and for me, I'm all in whatever capacity. Like I mean, you know, worked on pit crews and doing cylinder heads and you know, doing the bottom end and doing the short blocks and you know, whatever. You know, like
whatever.
If you get that win light, you know, in whatever capacity you are, as long as it comes on in your lane,
that's right.
I don't care.
That's right. But you're right. You need those guys and gals to be washing parts and to put this thing together correctly and not to make a mistake. Yeah. Everybody's got to pull on the rope the same direction all at the same time.
For sure.
With the same motivation. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Guy didn't do the right air pressure in the tires. Yeah, we're all going home. Right? So it's important. Everybody's got to pull their way.
Absolutely. Very well said. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. See, that's why we love what we do. Oh my God. How do you compare with a top fuel car with them all lit leaving the line?
Yeah,
oh my God.
I know we were talking a little bit earlier, but I really scratch my head a little bit why we don't race our cars, not just because that's a Friday night qualifying.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do Saturday night competition? You know, like, you know, the NASCAR, you know, I mean, they got the Bristol night race, and they got all these IndyCar runs at night. Formula One runs at night, but nobody's got flames like we got.
Right.
Like,
and we're not taking advantage of it.
That's built-in marketing. Like,
yes.
And I mean, grabbing people, I don't know why we don't do that.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a reason. I just don't know why. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, you know, we had Saturday night races that my dad raced at. I mean, there's lots of night shots, and it wasn't qualifying. It was like
racing.
You were racing.
Yes.
And I just think the dynamic of the fuel car, you know, with those header flames like that, it's just such a sensation that
why
aren't we taking advantage of it? I do know that, like, when I do the match races, you know, I did 3 of them this year. One at Virginia, another one at Martin, Michigan, and another one at Cordova. You know, it's Saturday night, and we run at night, and they pack the places when we do that kind of stuff. So, people want to see it. So, maybe this podcast will trigger somebody to ask them why. Why don't we do this?
Why don't we do this? Yeah. What is wrong with us?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a fraction of what Larry does, but it's what I have. It's my injected nitro car. It's my A fuel car. But my point is, the reason I'm showing you this was taken into July at our home track in Woodburn, and it's the one time a year they host a night race.
Yeah.
Okay, and they pack the stands out. So
it seems.
It would seem. Now, I'm not a track owner, so there's stuff that Joey and Sherry Severance and Jim Livingston, who owned it, knows that I don't know. Okay, fine. Boy, I'd be lobbying hard for that if I was that track owner, because the receipts, they need big cars to haul the money to the bank on Monday morning, because they're packed.
And if you had a Saturday night race, then you've got a Sunday rain date. You know, you also have, you know, a day for people to travel to actually get home.
That's right.
So it's just, I mean, I think there's a lot of pros to be able to do it. You know, Saturday night TV show, you know, like when you're not competing against NFL or NASCAR or Formula One, you know, maybe.
Yeah. I hadn't thought of it from the standpoint of the other forms of motorsports that have been running at night for a long time.
Yeah.
And what the hell do they have for header flames, for God's sake? They don't have anything.
Not like
not like this. Or when they scrape the ground and sparks come off, I guess. I don't know, but it's not like this. I don't understand. Makes no sense. I think we need to promote you to marketing for NHRA, I think. I don't know. But we may wait a while for that phone to ring. We'll see.
It's all right.
Yeah. All right. So, but that gets me to the thing that I was mainly interested, and you were so gracious to be willing to talk about. So to start that conversation, we're going to play this little video here. Check this out. Oh my God, this is cool.
This is a 2-seater top fuel dragster. Nitro ×2, me and you. You can get in a top fuel car and go for a ride. You know, when I drive the car, it makes you feel like that the rear end's trying to pass the front end, and your mind is going to go 100 different directions. If you think you're a thrill seeker, you're an adrenaline junkie, whatever you could possibly think of, this is going to be more. I skydived one time, 25 years later, I'm still talking about it. This will have that effect on people for the rest of their lives. If you want to make an impact on your employees or your customers, this is it. It's put up or shut up. There's no excuses. How about that? Is that for you?
Only one in the world. Awesome. That is so cool. Oh my God, that's so cool. So it was info@LarryDixonRacing.com.
Yeah.
So for anybody that would like more information to how to get in that thing,
Right.
info@LarryDixonRacing.com. That's awesome. So, all right, I gotta tell you this story too. Trevor and I went up to connect with Larry a little earlier today, and purely coincidentally, somebody had built a, looked to me it'd be a double B type, I don't think it was fuel, alcohol type funny car, 57 Chevrolet. But it was a 3-seater, had 3 seats, it was really wide. 3 people could fit in it. And Larry saw that and said,
Great idea.
why didn't I think of that?
Right.
Oh, that's hilarious. Been there, done that, have the t-shirt. That is so cool. So let's show a couple pictures of that. My old guy glasses on here. What gave you the idea? Where did this inspiration come from? How'd you do that?
Well, I don't know how to answer any other way than the truth. I had just lost my ride. Somebody basically bought me out of the seat, and so, you know, like, what am I going to do? You know, like, I'm approaching 50, and like, if my driving skills can't keep me in a seat, and you're going to get thrown to somebody that's going to throw $12 more at the team to drive the car, I don't need to be doing that. And so it's like, what do I want to do next? And then somehow or another, I thought about a 2-seat top fuel car. I mean, because you got, you know, the ride-along experiences in NASCAR, IndyCar with Mario Andretti, you know, Formula One does it. I mean, gosh, World of Outlaws, they do the sprint cars and stuff. MotoGP does it. You can hop on the back of a motorcycle and go 180 mile an hour
I didn't know that.
on a road course.
I didn't know
it's
that.
like, and you know, the 2-seat cars that we have in drag racing, for me, they seem a little soft. You know, like, we're to the point where it's like I could go to the dealership and buy a Dodge Hellcat and run quicker than the 2-seat cars that are here. So It's like, well, okay, so here's the idea of doing it. You know, the first 2 things that you got to, the number 1 thing is, can a car be constructed safely? You know, like, for me, that's it. And then the next thing, if it passes that test, can it be insured? You know, so like that's where you go with it. So so I hook up with Murph McKinney, which built a lot of my championship cars and stuff like that.
I know Murph.
Spent a ton of money to build a program where actually on the computer where you can actually load the car and see if this car can actually be constructed and be safe. And the coolest thing in the world for me, it's like I have hard data that shows that car under load is safer than the actual big show top fuel cars. Because it shows, you know, like I've been in a few crashes where the car breaks in half and you fly through the air. Yep. It shows those hot spots in the chassis in a conventional top fuel car, but it doesn't show it in the 2-seat car. So like, for me, it was kind of exciting that I can, you know, not only can like we build a car like that, but I can actually make a car that's safer than the one that the guys are racing.
Wow.
So then, you know, I mean, I'll probably skip a few pages, but then it's like, well, you know, can I run this thing? So you know, initially I did, before I constructed the car, I did meet with the high-ups at NHRA. They were really excited about it. And they had a few concerns that they wanted to make sure that I addressed, in the construction side of things, and I did. And so then we, build this car, we test this car, we debut it at SEMA in 2017, and everybody in the world loved it, except the legal department at NHRA. So then they kind of came down on me a little bit. I appealed on, they gave me an indefinite suspension. I appealed it. I won the appeal because they said I didn't do anything wrong, but they said they don't want to have any part of it. It's like, okay, fine. Then we're gonna go run the car at NHRA tracks,
right.
or the WDRA tracks, non-NHRA tracks,
right,
and so
right.
that's what I do. So
Wow.
like now my schedule, like me that's pretty much retired from racing top fuel cars in the NHRA. I ran. We had 12 events we did this year, where I did 3 match races. I raced down in Australia, won one of the events, which was kind of neat.
That's awesome.
And then we had 4 events with the 2-seat car. I set the schedule for that in February. In March, I was sold out. Like all the rides were bought and paid for in
Oh my
March. So it's
God.
like you got somebody call up. I'm like, we're sold out, man.
Wow.
Like next year, I literally don't have time in my schedule to do it. So
wow.
And we're kind of doing the same thing again this year. So there's a home for it. It may not be at an NHRA track or an event, but people want to do this. You do the informal poll, like you're at a drag race and stuff like that, and would you like to go for top fuel car? Would you like to drive one? No way. Nobody wants to drive a top fuel car.
Right.
It's like 1 in 50 that want to drive one.
Right.
Would you like to go for a ride in one? Oh gosh, I would love that. Because they would like to know the speed and the G-forces and sensation without the responsibility actually getting it down the track.
Right.
And so that kind of helped make my decision that was a path I wanted to go down.
God. All right, look. I want to be cautious how I say this because I don't want to just come across as big suck up. But look, you've always been a rock star hero in our sport. The things you've accomplished, 3-time world champ, it's incredible. But the day that you became the unbelievable hero to me was when I heard about this car. That's what did it for me. I thought, oh my God, that is so cool. And with some of the pushback that you got, and still to persevere and find a way, and that the safety was paramount, or we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yet, here you found a way to do it. I didn't know about McKinney, Murph helping you. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, he's on the board of SFI. So it isn't like some guy in his garage that's designing this car.
Right.
It's like he's the premier engine builder. He's built a lot of cars that have won championship.
Oh,
and
God,
he was
yes.
excited about doing this because he really thought that he's a drag racing fan, obviously.
Yes.
But he thought that it had a place for it to be able to actually help market our sport. And
Seems obvious.
I'm kind of with him. It was really important, the aesthetics of the car. I needed the car to look right. If somebody's going for a ride, it can't look like something that gets built in your backyard or something like that.
That's right.
So like me, I'm the wrong guy to ask because I'm ate up with it. I love the car. I love being able to go down the track and then get out at the other end, and that person's reaction. It's just
priceless.
Yes, it's like,
yes.
I've had people go for a second ride, because I've never had a disappointed, rider or customer or whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
They all love it.
So,
and for me, it's just like, and you have a picture of it, one of the car launching at the start, that one there was Darrell Russell's dad.
I remember, I watched that video. Oh my God, that was so cool.
And his son, Chris, wanted to do that for his dad, and
I
so
watched that.
He did it as a surprise. Told him he was going to. He was looking at a trailer or something to buy, and they show up, and all of a sudden this car's got Burnell Russell on the side of it, and he's like, "Why does it have that? Because you're going for a ride." And he did, and it was just. And I'm friends with Darrell. His number's still in my phone.
Oh man.
And I'm going to say 99.9% of the people that go for a ride when you shut that car off and the chute's out and you're coasting to the turnout, they're squealing like a little girl at a boy band concert. He was very quiet. We get out down at the other end, and it's like, hey, you want to get out of the car? And he's like, no. And it's like, we're going to tow back. And he's like, I just want to stay in the car. And it was like, it almost gave you the feeling that he wanted to be one with his son. Like and his son was ate up with it, like we get. And it just gave him a little bit of taste of what he was. And it's like, like that moment and that ride for me, it's like made me feel like how is what I'm doing bad? Like I really I'm making lifetime memories for these people.
Oh my
and like
God.
how's that bad? So like that's why I'm just I'm gonna stay away and I'm gonna do my thing. And if they come to the water and want to get a drink, it's great. There's no animosity there, but I'm going to keep making great memories for these people that want to go for rides.
To have something that's a part of your life, like you've made this, where you're having people live their dream that they have, that there's no other way to accomplish on the planet. There is no option.
No.
There isn't.
Yeah.
Except for what you've done to go drive one, but they don't want to do that, and they're smart.
Yeah.
But to go for riding one, there is no option. That's it, for God's sake.
I've had people like, I've had guys, girls, young, old. I mean, I've had people, like they hug you at the other end. I've wanted to do this ride for 55 years, and they're just like, and you just like, again, how is this so bad?
Right.
I mean, it's an experience, and I like for me, it's like it's almost cooler that it's more than winning an event, because that's like, I mean, you think of that person, when they get in a crowd of people, like, I mean, they've got the trump card for a conversation, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
For the rest of their lives, because nobody's ever, the crowd that they're in, the only people that have gone quicker and faster are ones that have actually driven top fuel cars and funny cars, because that car is faster than A fuel cars, nostalgia top fuel cars, jet cars, pro mod cars. Like, I mean, it just they run quicker and faster than that, and I love that, because normally, like we run second tier events that we go to, but normally we're low ET of the meet, and so that person in the car, it's like, you went quicker and faster than everybody else here.
I didn't know that. That's right. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So it's neat. Like,
that's really awesome. That is so cool. So you're making a difference in people's lives. You're making memories that last for their life. So the reason I share this, our business that we've owned forever is the commercial business machines. We sell copiers. We have good copiers, but at the end of the day, it's still just a copier, for God's sake. So you're not really changing anybody's life. Out here, with putting people in the car, which I can't do that, but it makes sense to me, like how rewarding that would be to be you. Like, oh my God, that's so cool.
And again, you showing pictures of me as a little kid. Like, I loved those cars when I was a little kid, and like the top fuel cars have been, and I raced street cars, and I did brackets, and I raced alcohol, but like, in my family, it's been top fuel cars.
Right.
Like that's kind of where I am, and I'm so proud of those cars. And I had a conversation with Don Garlitz earlier this year, and he had 20 questions about this thing. And he was like one of my childhood heroes.
Of course.
So, like, I'm a fanboy at the moment.
Right.
And he's asking me for questions, and I thought it was neat.
That's
but
cool.
He's like, like the setup of the car, and he's asking the ET numbers and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, I'm getting, we go 9 flat, 60-foot time, and then like we run 220 to the 330, and we run 320 to the half track, right?
My God.
And he's like, he goes, you don't have that car back down. And I'm like, no, because it's like, you have extra weight, obviously, so you can't really back it down. Like, you've got to kind of keep it kind of hopped up so it runs like a top fuel. I told him, I don't want this thing to be a dumbed down Disneyland ride, is what I said. And
that's awesome.
No disrespect.
No disrespect
to Disneyland, but I want it to be a real top fuel car. And he said, amen.
That's
and
right.
he yelled
Yes.
it, and I was just like,
yes.
like I got Don Garlitz excited. And
That's
it was just
so cool.
it
That's
was a
awesome.
Yes, and for him, he's, you know, like the number one guy voted in our
Yes.
sport. And he's excited about that car, and it just made me feel.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know the ETs though. So
it scoots.
yeah.
And the speeds we run somewhere between like between 250-ish and 265 mile an hour. We've been as fast as 268, but like in the 250 to 260 range to half track.
To half track.
Yeah.
So
8th mile.
yes, 8th mile. Okay. So you said 9 flat, 60 foot, and
Yeah.
you said 230 to
Yeah,
330.
Yeah, 220 to 230 to 330.
I'm asking because I'm going to give some compare and contrast in just a minute, so hang on. And then to the half track, you are as fast as 268 mile an hour,
Yeah.
250, 260, and the
Yeah.
ET is 320.
Yeah, we've been as quick as 323, but we normally average in the high 320 ETs to 330 ETs.
Okay.
Yeah.
On
It depends on the track and the weather.
yeah,
you
of
know,
course,
like-
of course. Yeah, it's not a Tesla, for God's sake. It's
Right.
a top fuel car.
Yeah.
So I get it. But the point is, if we run a 930, 940, 60 foot, we're ecstatic. Running, I've been 239 to 330. I've been 239. I haven't been 229, for God's sake. To half track, getting below 3.50 is a big day. 349, you're hauling the mail, right? To be 227, 230 is a big number in my world. You're way faster, way quicker than that.
But I'm selling a ride in a top fuel car.
That's
So it
so
should
cool.
be it should be quicker than that.
You're
And
right.
and
That's, but that's the point.
kinda
It's
where
not dumb. I didn't know. I thought it
Yeah.
might be dumb.
Yeah, no, I don't want it to be. You know, like I've had events where I've run the 2-seat car on Friday, and then the top fuel car, like a match race, on Saturday. And literally, you take the drivetrain from one, put it in the other, and like
Really?
our adjustments from one to the other are like stupid minimal. Like, I mean,
Wow.
it's not so it actually helps me on both sides with the top fuel car and the 2-seat car, that I'm running the same combination, you know, like same clutch.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's got a 6-disc Alan Johnston clutch. And when I bought the clutches from Alan, one came out of the Alan Lobby trailer, the other one came out of the Brittany Force trailer, because I bought them a few years ago. So, I mean, it's a real top fuel car.
a real top fuel car.
And then,
God, that's
the
cool.
whole thing with the experience thing is, you know, like I mean, I've made multiple runs in the day, but like where we're at right now with it, I like making 2 runs a day. So I really give that person, like, they get a day in the pit. Like, you see the guys working on the cars between rounds and stuff like that. We do the same thing. We put a clutch in the car, and you tear it down and you put rods and pistons in it, and you do all that stuff between rounds, and everybody kind of like, wow, this is like a real top fuel car. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Yes, it is. That's what I'm selling. So like it's neat. And then, you know,
I'm so glad we got to talk about this. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
And forgive me for presuming that it wasn't that, but I did not know that. But I thought you would have had to have detuned it to soften it.
No, the car's heavier.
It's heavier.
And so for me, again, I think I have really high standards of what I want my customers' expectations to be. And I feel if I can satisfy myself, I can more than cover everybody else. And everybody's, everybody goes, well, what happens if it smokes the tires? And I'm like, then we're going to go back to the pit, make some adjustments, and we're going to go make another run. And I've had to do that. I mean, it's a bummer because it's like you want to be able to make, but I'm not selling somebody short on not getting a good run down the racetrack.
So you have smoked the tires.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which further confirms this thing isn't back down. That is so cool.
And I'd rather lose money than have somebody upset that are not satisfied. So it's like, we're going to go right back up there. And then there's one guy that happened to, and I mean, he just like, I mean, I'll post stuff on Facebook, and he'll just jump right in on comments and stuff, and he gave me 2 runs, and they were awesome runs. And I mean, it was just like, he almost was more excited because he got to feel, one versus the other, and it worked out. So it's, it happens. I mean, you can have part failures or whatever the case, and we're going to make sure that we give that, you know, we're giving somebody a 3-second ET, and they're gonna haul the mail going down the racetrack.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, man, I so appreciate the input. There's a lot of that I just did not know at all about that car. God, that is so cool. So,
yeah, okay, that's Daryl Russell's dad on that launch right there, and the thing that I love is just all the people. Look at all the cameras.
That's what I was just going to say. That's why that picture's there, because of all those people. I go, oh my God, that's incredible.
And for me, I thought that would be a company's like best thing. Like, I mean, because that car is such a, you know, I've got one YouTube video that's got over 3 million views on it. You know,
oh
like,
my God, really?
Because that car is a spectacle. It's one of one.
Yes.
So like it really attracts people's like. People can't believe that you actually have a 2-seat car and you can take people down the racetrack. There was a car in Australia that was, you know, like when I first did this, they're like, oh, you know, there's a 2-seat car down here, but I'm like, yeah, but you've never put it on the racetrack. Like they do burnouts in it, and they literally do burnouts with it. And I'm not discounting what they do. But mine's not exhibition in that fashion.
Right.
It's to give a top, you know, like we launch, I give you a time, I sign a time slip and give you the time slip. Like we're making a run with a top fuel car, you know, and you're in it. So little bit different, but it's a spectacle. Everybody wants to. I got Bobby Lagana, you know, like up there watching the car.
Oh my God!
You know, like I just think it's a, like I said, I'm bad because I'm ate up with it. I really think it's cool, and it does everything that I wanted it to do when I was stuck in traffic driving to Pomona thinking about what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. I'm doing it. Like
That's so cool.
You know, like out from your mind, and then be able to put it on paper, and then, you know, put it on the track, and then actually be able to deliver a time slip to somebody on you know, like, gosh, we're around 50 rides, you know, with the car.
Really?
So yeah,
Wow.
so there's 50 more people in the world that have been in a top fuel car.
Fuel car because of you. I think it's wonderful. God bless you. I think that is so darn cool. Unbelievable. So, if I may back up, so the safety part, you check that box, all the work you and Murph did together, okay.
Yeah.
The insurance part, okay, we check that box, and that's cool, and it's critically important, because we don't have that, we can't keep going. But now that we've checked those boxes, I'm curious about the performance part, how you, until you put it out there, nobody'd ever done it, so you don't have somebody to go ask, what should I do to make this work?
No.
But you've got a few hundred pounds more than you had in any other top fuel car.
Oh, I mean, again, I think I've spent my life around top fuel cars and just really have a good understanding of the engine. You know, when I'm in the building phase of this car, I'm, you know, like, he's passed now, but like Dick LaHaye has always been a sounding board for me, and he has a really good understanding of a fuel engine, and he was just, you know, talking about it, and, you know, what I'm doing, and so you just gotta, you know, it's probably no different than the guy that built the SpaceX, you know, rocket. You know, like, it hasn't been done, but you know, he's got a belief that it's going to do it, and then you have data to support it, and you know, these engines make so much power and there's so much torque, and the car's heavier, but those engines, they love the, you know, running an A fuel car, they like to be loaded. You know, well, I got a heavy top fuel car that likes to be loaded, so it's happy.
That makes perfect sense to me. I remember the days where, when I got this, we were on 100%, and then NHRA said, for parity with the alcohol blown out cars, that we want to slow them down. So the first things that they did early on were they added weight. Didn't work at all. The cars did not go slower. In fact, we kept going quicker. So the only way that they could slow us down was to take away the one thing that gives us the power, the fuel.
Nitromethane.
No.
Less percentage.
And that did it, because that's where all the power comes from in these cars. It's all in the fuel tank. Yeah, that's really cool. And it makes sense. That's really cool. Wow.
So it's been fun. Yeah, it's how time flies. Like, we debuted that car in 2017. Well, it's 2023, you know, so I mean, 6 years ago now.
6 years ago.
About. Almost this week, 6 years ago.
Wow.
That we did it, and it's created some noise, and it's created some memories, and I couldn't be happier. So
your plans for the future with this? Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I don't have this big agenda. I'm kind of, I don't have this Zen spirit or anything like that, but I think kind of like life kind of takes, you know, like if you told me that 10 years ago that I'd be doing that, I'd have said you were nuts.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
so like I don't argue with where life takes you. I just kind of like, I'm enjoying the ride as I'm going with it. And, you know, like this year, you know, we gave more rides than I ever have. I did more match racing than I ever have. Yeah, like we ran 3 national events, and I've only run, you know, our car, you know, like we debuted our Top Fuel car in 2017 at Gainesville. Well, gosh, I went to 1 race last year and 3 this year, and talking about doing it more because I'm, you know, mentoring younger drivers and getting them licensed, and I like that. I enjoyed driving. I thought I did pretty good while I was out there doing it, and if I can if I can share that experience and give, you know, instead of letting it go to waste, you know, like, give it to the next group, man. Like I don't want to see Top Fuel go away. I want to see it grow. I mean, gosh, when I was a kid, I went to races where they had 64 Top Fuel cars, and people not qualifying. You know, like I don't ever, you know, the cost of it has driven it from ever being in that way. But I'd like to see it where you see 25, 30 cars show up for an event, you know, and like qualifying means something, you know, like, I mean, this weekend, that, you know, the 16 car field, well, there's only 16 Top Fuel cars here. So like, there's no, you know, they're all running, you know, like, well, I guess that makes it great for the guys that are here. But, you know, again, I love competition, you know, like, you know, when you win an event, you want to know that you earned it.
You earned it.
You know, and it wasn't just like, okay.
That's really cool.
Participation trophy.
Right. Where everybody gets a trophy for participating. Yeah, exactly. That's where society's going. I've got a question for you, but we're doing a little different booze deal here than we normally do because it's beer night. So what else?
Me driving for Miller Lite for 15 years. Yeah, I'm kind of a beer guy.
Kind of. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't have Miller Lite.
That's
God
right.
darn it. I get my cooler open.
You'll dig into yours. And
I'll dig
into mine.
So when we're at the track, we go through a lot of these, so I can tell you that. That's what we do. So I'm getting parched, but I've got a question for you, sir.
Shoot.
With your enjoyment of driving, competing, your success is about unparalleled. It's just incredible. But now it's a different phase of your life. Now you're changing people's lives by having this car, but you're also mentoring young drivers in the single-seat Top Fuel car.
Right.
Tell me which you enjoy more, teaching a driver to drive and seeing how they respond, or having someone in the back seat of that car. Tell me the difference, please, to you personally.
When you're teaching somebody to drive, like I mean, gosh, you're handing them the keys to the car.
That's
so
right.
I'm you know, a little tighter, a little bit more nervous, because
As you should be.
Yeah, because there's a lot. We've seen, you know, there's a lot of bad things that can happen on the racetrack, and you're not in control anymore. You're doing the best you can and hope it's enough, and doing the most you can. I enjoy, you know, like Will Smith. I'll bring him up because we've run him a few times.
Yeah.
But like I've known him since he was like, he interned on Shannon Jenkins Pro Mod when I was driving Alan Abbey almost 50. It would be 15 years ago.
Long time ago, wow.
I've known him for a long time, and he's always wanted to drive Top Fuel cars. And then, like, he raced juniors, and then he did A Fuel for a long period of time. And he's been there, and I'm like, you know, like, we talk, and it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, are you going to race A Fuel forever? Or you finally make the move? And so then he kind of like almost, yeah, I need to do that. So then it was, you know, he kind of made a game plan that he wanted to get his license, and, you know, and that kind of, you know, big difference when you walk around talking about, like, I want to race Top Fuel to, I got a Top Fuel license. I mean, it gets you off the sidelines, right?
Absolutely.
You're on the field, and you're in the game. So, so he did that, and then that kind of motivated him and his people. You know, and he's got a group of people that kind of like pitched in so he could go race. So then we ran Indy last year, and that was a, you know, like for a strategic plan of the first race to go, there's 25 cars that show up.
Yeah.
And I haven't run an NHRA race in gosh, since 2017. So like it had been a 5-year stretch. So,
wow.
but we went there, and we didn't qualify. but we didn't make ourselves look silly. Like we ran low 380s and we held our own, which, you know, allowed us to, you know, come back this year. And we ran Joliet, didn't qualify again, but we, you know, like we ran a little bit quicker. And then, you know, we took our car and we'll keep working on our car. The more runs you make at the big show events, you get to just, you know, like tweak it a little bit. And we mentored another kid earlier this year, Cody Crone,
yep.
And he got licensed in Gainesville back in February, and then he debuted NHRA at St. Louis in September. So, and then, you know, we keep working on our car, and you know, we ended up running quicker. And then, yeah, I think one of the sessions we were third quick where we got bonus points. So like we're not, it's not really a school car, you know, but you've got young guys driving it, because I take pride in, you know, a lot of years of, you know, racing for guys like Don Perdome and Alan Johnson. And it's like, I want to show up, you know, I want to look the part, you know, when we roll into the pit area that you look at, and then the quality, you know, the number that you put on the scoreboard is important to me too. Not just for what I'm, you know, because I'm not giving them a ride in to drive the car. I mean, they're basically, you know, leasing the seat for the weekend. So but I have expectations that I put on myself, kind of like I do with the two-seat car. That I have standards that are set, that what I think I should be given if somebody's going to be driving my car. And so I try to stay ahead of that. And our car runs good, you know, and it goes down the racetrack. And I think it's a good car to learn from.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow.
I don't,
awesome.
You know, like people, oh, you know, like it'd be great, you get a sponsor and you come out here and run for 22. And I'm like, man, like, I think that horse has kind of left the barn, man. Because when you step out of the seat and you're not doing the 22, and then you find out all these other things that you can be doing, like running the two-seat car.
Right.
You know, I got my street car. I do drag and drive events.
I saw that. That's cool. Very cool.
Gives me an opportunity to go down to Australia and race for the Rapasardas.
Yes.
You know, and got a win down there, which
that
was neat. I mean, you're racing Australia's best, and and I got an opportunity.
And they're no slouches, man.
No. I mean, their cars running 370s down there. So like, it's not. They would have qualified here. They'd have bumped people out. So like, they've got good cars. So again, but you're getting to dabble in all of that stuff, and it's keeping me busy enough, and it's all kind of around, you know, drag racing for sure, but Top Fuel.
So your bride and 3 children.
Yeah. Okay.
So it looked like you got to go to Europe here fairly recently. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Earlier this year.
Yeah.
I just. That'd been kind of on the family wanted to do a European vacation, and my vacation seemed to be at home for a weekend. You know, where you're taking a break from traveling, but like we planned it. I'm like, if we're going to Europe, man, like I really want it in this window. And they're like, what's that? And it's like, I really want to go to Monaco, like for the Grand Prix. So like we flew into France, and like and Nice, France is like, you know, 30-minute away from Monaco, so I get to go to Monaco, which is
cool.
Like I've wanted to go there since 1991, watching Senna run there.
Wow,
just like,
how cool!
So I got to do that, and then we did a solid week in Italy, and then we did a solid week in France, and then 2 weeks after Monaco is a 24-hour Le Mans.
Yep.
So we got to go to Le Mans, and you know, it was the 100th event of Le Mans. So it was neat, and then you know, I know some of the people, you know, the Chip Ganassi team run down, and so I'm kind of posting stuff on social media, so I can keep it straight in my head, you know, from town to town that we're doing and all that. Well, one of my buddies at Ganassi's he's like, hey, you know, we're at Le Mans, and I'm like, we just parked, and he's like, we got garage passes and stuff, you know, like if you want to go for you and your family, and I'm like, wow. So like before the start of the race, you're walking down, and you're in the garage area, and it was just like,
how cool.
It was a great experience. And then you know, the day after that, like I'm kind of like almost tourist out. The girls want to go shopping, and I'm like, I go, if I took a day off from shopping, like, if y'all don't mind, I want to go to Normandy.
Oh God, yes. Oh, absolutely.
I can almost cry talking about it.
Absolutely.
Because like I went there, and it's like the most crystal clear, beautiful day. The grass is green. But then you're also thinking about them kids, man, that are running up on the beach,
slaughtered.
and it ain't a nice day for them.
No.
And all these guys, I mean, they're fighting so we can go do stupid stuff like this. You know, like, and
makes sense to me.
But it was such a great day, and
God.
my youngest son went with me there, and it was just a. And then you're looking at all these, you know, headstones and all that stuff, and I didn't take a lot of pictures of the headstones, but like, you know, like kind of like turned and panned, and it's like if you zoom in on one of the pictures that I posted, it's got Dixon on the headstone, and it was just like,
wow.
it was, I don't know,
Surreal,
it was a bit,
man.
very, very, very surreal.
Oh,
and it was just like, yeah, it just made, and that, you know, you're in France, but they're waving American flags.
Oh man,
And it's
how
like,
cool.
yeah, but you're thinking about them, like all them kids, you know, the kids, teenagers doing that.
And they didn't make it home.
Yeah,
and they had families waiting for them.
Yeah, it was a very, very educational day. It made, you know, it was kind of a little sobering. For sure. Yeah. You know,
puts perspective on things.
We're talking on Veterans Day weekend.
That's right.
You know, like,
That's
and
right.
it was just it was a neat moment. I was so glad I got to share it with my son.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing it with me.
Yeah.
That is so cool. My wife and I are extremely pro-military, and I had the honor to be able to sit across this very table at the track in Las Vegas with a major who's in the Air Force and flies F-16s, Major Devin Detleff, and it was incredible to listen to the stories of the combat that they've been in, and I had that same feeling that, and you guys are over there risking your doggone lives, and we're here running a race car, you know, and so I had that very similar perspective, like, oh my God, and it does seem to put a perspective on things when we have a bad day here, but not often are people shooting at me, you know, while I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's. I had somebody tell me one time, it's first world problems.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I've done some third world traveling back in the early '90s in Romania and in Ukraine. It changed my life. I'll never forget talking to the folks that live there, God bless them, but they were astounded that we had supermarkets with aisles full of pet food, with dog food. They had no dog food. It's just whatever you had off the scraps. But to think that in our country we had aisles dedicated just to dog food blew their mind.
Yeah.
Such a different perspective, and we are very blessed
for sure
to be here.
Yeah.
I didn't choose this. I mean, it was just God's plan for you and for me, and here we are.
Yeah.
And today we get to talk, and I'm so honored to be able to chat with you.
I appreciate
it's a
the time.
tremendous
Be
thrill.
able to tell my story.
It's a tremendous thrill for me that I'll never forget. I am so honored that you'd spend this time with me, and I'm thrilled at your success. I'm thrilled, though, that you're an innovator in our sport and wanted to share this with other folks, and that you found a way to do it that nobody on the planet has.
Yeah.
And I'm in awe, and I'm
Leave it to me.
There you go. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, blessings to you and your family and to your career. God bless you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me.
Again, thank
it's
you.
Been wonderful.
Yeah, there's a lot of times, like when you race cars for a long period of time and you're down at the top end of the track and you get like 30 seconds to say what you need to say, and you're mostly thanking your sponsors because they're the ones that funded it all and stuff like that. And there's not, you know, like, I think your show is great because it gives the drivers and people an opportunity to show their personality that you're not going to grab in the 5, 7, 10 seconds that they get on a quick interview. So I think what you're doing is great, and I appreciate appreciate the invite for being on your show.
Thank you. Oh God, I love this. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah,
it's an absolute privilege. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this a fraction as much as I have. It's been wonderful. So we're going to conclude this one for now. Please share this, like and subscribe. And by God, if you're here, you too are a cool kid because you're here with us. You could be anywhere, but by God, you're here with us. You're a cool kid as well. Thank you for spending this time with us. Peace. What's wrong with that? That's pretty cool.
Right on.